Hello everyone, and it is Dragonking back with another recording. So today we're going to be looking at a new horror asymmetrical game that came out called Carnival. Well, it hasn't come out yet. It's going to come out supposedly in 2022. And for those who are not aware of what asymmetrical horror games are, think of Dead by Daylight. So let's start from the very beginning. We can immediately see we're in like some sort of rundown carnival place or like circus or some sort of fair with all the balloons, what appears to be some attractions, and there's papers scuttling across the floor that say missing and have children, or at least like children to teenagers' faces on them. You could probably debate for either one. But right after showing us those trailers, it cuts away to the view of the survivor, who looks up and looks at their hands and see they're like a little toy. So clearly what happened was somebody killed those kids and their souls went into that sort of little toy that they're in now, or something else went down that moved their soul into the toys and their body was just disappearing. In fact, it probably is the second option because it said they're missing. It didn't say they were dead. So it's actually probably more like their body and their soul was moved into the toy and their body just disappeared. And when she looks around, she's surrounded and she's like, well, at least I think it's a she. I'll just assume it's a she because that's like the face. It was a female face on the missing picture before someone zoomed in. Well, I mean before it cut away to her vision. Anyway, pardon my awful English. She sees another toy moving and twisting. You know those little wind-up toys you would play with where you like wind up the toy and then it would like walk around or do whatever it did? It looks like one of those cranks, and he's twisting, well, at least her friend, the toy she is seeing is twisting it into another toy. One thing I should probably mention is that all the toys are the same. They all have the same design. And as that person is twisting that sort of, I guess I'll call it a crank, a shadow passes by and another toy falls like halfway down a flight of stairs, because it's, that flight of stairs that like goes down and then hits the floor after taking a sort of turn. And we get a great view of the back of the head of whatever is hunting them. That's a pretty good head, my dude. Anyway, after that, it cuts away to the survivors just running away, or at least I'm gonna call them survivors. I'm gonna use DBD terminology here. But the survivors are running away from something, and they soon get to just what appears to be a dead end. I would think it's a dead end, dude, or else they would have kept running. And these cranks seem to be very, very, very important. Because as the two toys are looking around, trying to think of what to do, one of the toys gets the crank he's holding and shoves it in like a little kangaroo pouch he has on his vest. And then gets down and tells the friend to get down and play dead as well. And here is where we get at least a better look at the killer, because he walks in and sort of reaches out and grabs one of the plain dead toys and examines it. And that's something that I would like to see, because that's actually a really interesting concept. Plain dead. But these cranks seem to be very important, and to go into detail on why I think that. When the person we're seeing, like, the view of, opens their eyes for the first time, you hear the crank sound. And then you see your friend put another crank into, I guess we'll just call it a dead toy, and start twisting it. And the toy starts twitching as he twists the crank. And something to notice is all the alive toys have the wind-up things spinning and counting down while they're alive. And the final little detail was how he was hiding the wind-up toy. It appears that these little wind-up things are the key to survival of the survivors. And this is even further added on to when at the very end of the trailer, the killer rips the wind-up thing out of the toy to sort of what's it called? That's the key thing I wanted to particularly really go over. Think of it if you've ever played Dead by Daylight, how generators are key to the survival of the survivors. These cranks seem to be Carnival Hunt's versions of, or at least the, not directly generators, but they appear to be at least a main objective of the survivors, other than, just trying to evade the killer. Another thing, it appears that both aspects, both killer and survivor in this game, are first person, which is weird. Well, not really weird, but you would find unnatural if you've been playing DBD for a long time, because in DBD the killer is in first person while the survivors are in third person. Also, we get this really menacing shot of the killer like grabbing the ceiling to look around a corner before the two toys start playing dead. Also, after they play dead, it cuts to the killer, and it seems to be some sort of like magician's stage with like the magician guy holding a rabbit on the sign in the back. Because this killer himself seems to be like a robotic magician. He's got a suit, he's got a top hat, and he is a machine. He also seems to have, but despite being a machine, he seems to have like very human-like qualities. He like peeks around corners, he grabs roofs, and if he was just an extremely basic machine, you probably wouldn't expect anything of that. He's also got a super sick cape. Another thing is, both survivor and killer seem to be able to interact with the environment. This may just be for cinematic purposes, but the survivors and killers did knock things in the environment over. And another thing is, we get a shot of one of the toys like hiding behind a wall as the killer is walking past him. And this seems to be a thing. It looks in a way like Little Nightmares, if you've ever played that game. In Little Nightmares, you are a tiny child, and the antagonists of Little Nightmares are usually pretty much all adults. It seems to be a similar case here, where all these survivors are just a bunch of toys, and the killer is a straight up full-blown human-sized magician robot. Moving on from the interaction of the environment, in that scene where the person is hiding behind the wall, hiding from the killer takes a few steps, and it appears that the killer is walking with a limp. Either that or he's just walking that way for no particular reason. But considering how like frail of a robot he looks, I would not be surprised if he had a sort of mechanical limp as a sort of design flaw. Not intended, obviously. But then that begs the question, at least for me this begs the question, this isn't a criticism or anything, but I'm just really interested in how the killer is going to catch the survivors if he does have like a limp and like can't run, while the survivors who are toys are running with pretty much no problem. Probably something to do with the size. I would assume that's how like the magician robot would catch up. Also, this trailer has a super badass score. At least, well, soundtrack. Score or soundtrack, whichever you prefer. And the audio design is great. The trailer is really cinematic. There is one scene where they do seem to be like running around a junkyard. It appears that there's going to be multiple different environments of the map. Or perhaps there's going to be multiple different maps to start off the bat. Because you've got that sort of junkyard looking map, you've got a carnival looking map, and then you've got this map with, well, areas I should say. You've got a carnival area, you've got a junkyard area, and then you've got this area with a sort of greenish hue to it. However, considering it's a show, the lighting's it's all probably just one map, and it's all just different sections of the map. And yeah, that's pretty much a basic analysis of the trailer. Also, I don't know why, but there's something in this trailer that's so off-putting. If you pause at the right moment, there's like this split 1 second where you can pause it. you see the insides of the killer. And it's like gears put in like a sort of... It looks like organs, but it looks metal at the same time. It looks like real organs, but it looks metal at the same time. So this is a really well-designed robot. Of course, however, this could be the mouth of the killer, because if you go to that scene where the survivors are playing dead, the killer picks one up and opens his mouth, and when he opens his mouth, it appears there are multiple gears cranking. Now, for the final, really cool aspect of the trailer, since it's all really cool, but if you fast forward to the end, the killer takes off the top half of his head, shows the inside of it to you, and there is just like a whirring blender. And that scene is just horrifying. Well, yep, that was the analysis of... Was that the analysis of the gun? Yeah, I think that's like everything. I mean, there are a few other details of like the environment. Like, I saw a ram skull in one scene, or a goat, ram or goat. And there's a bunch of kids' toys lying around, further evidencing the theory that the survivors are tiny toys. I mean, it's pretty much guaranteed they are, but on the slight chance it wasn't, that the size that they're just the same size as children's toys pretty much guarantees that they are tiny instead of big toys. Yeah, so there is actually... I might as well just cover this now. If you go to the Beer Night Studio YouTube channel, this is the people who are making the game. If you go to their channel and go to community, there is a teaser of what appears to be the map. And there's a little poem to go along with it. Circus is loud, circus has a crowd, circus is fun, you're never done. But now, circus is silent, circus is violent, no time for fun, you'll need to run. And that is it for the Carnival Hunt reveal trailer. And of course, if you liked what you saw here, click like and subscribe and share with your friends and family, and maybe your dog. Tune in next time. And bye-bye.